right. Looks like I am live. Welcome to Tuesday Night Raw Q&A with me, Dr. Andi. Let's get some light going here. I wish I could do this before I get on with you guys, but it's not how YouTube works. There we go. Uh-oh, there's a kitty in here tonight. She must have snuck by me. Let's welcome everyone. Hello, Kyle. Let's change the chat. There we go. All right. Let me turn the phone off. There we go. Okay. Ready to rock and roll, everybody? Again, welcome to Tuesday Night Raw Q&A, where all of your questions, beginner to advanced, on raw feeding are welcome. I will do my best. If I know something, intuition, what I've done with my pack in the past, our community will chime in and we'll hopefully give you a helping paw with your transition into raw or whatever speed bump you have going on. I am a doctor of chiropractic. I'm a certified animal chiropractor here in the state of Colorado. This is no way veterinary advice. This is what I've learned from my clients, what I have done with my own animals. It's what my community knows about raw feeding, and we're just here to share information and hopefully spark you to continue and educate yourself further on your journey. Kyle's making reference to the Raw Dog Food Truth podcast with Dee Dee Mercer-Moffat, owner and CEO of Raw Dog Food and Company, and myself. I'm on the show every Monday. And we're not live. This may burst your bubble, but we are not live when we do that, and it was pre-recorded. And we were talking about a frug. Her name was Fig. And it went downhill fast. And a frug, by the way, is a French Bulldog Pug mix. And she decided to take herself out the car window while the car was still moving. Well, yeah, you'll have to go listen to it, okay? I'm like, I even asked Dee Dee, I'm like, okay, are you going to cut this out? Like, she's like, oh, hell no. So it is pretty funny. I don't even know where it went exactly. I don't really quite remember. But yes, a frug is a French Bulldog Pug mix. You know, all the designer breeds have their names, right? And she's super cute. And she was fine from going outside the vehicle. And her pet parents, hello, Miss Keisha. Well, mom in particular is like, we've got to get her adjusted. So I saw her the day after, and most likely she mostly bounced. She was pretty young, and we fixed her up, and we're going to see her again in about a week or two. Easy peasy. Sometimes. Okay. Any pack updates? My pack updates. Do you guys have any pack updates? Would love to hear from you. Let's see. What do we got? Not really a pack update, but been playing with snuffle mats a little bit more. When Ashley gets here, we can thank her for that. She made me one a while ago, and I pulled it out once, and Crosby the poodle almost ripped it to shreds, so he doesn't snuffle. And then I kind of just like, what's the point? Okay, they snuffle out some cookies, not really getting it. And so Ashley pulled it out for clients a couple Saturdays ago. And it was really interesting to watch them. The ones that were like, oh, yeah, this is cool, or they know what to do with it. They're in there looking for all the little Ziwi peaks, and they would come up almost for air. This is a lot of work. And when you do activate the nose, you activate both sides of the brain and the entire neurological system. So it's actually really good. And I am going to let her out in a second. Hold on. That is Miss Ruby. She does like to have her voice heard. activate both sides of the brain, the entire neurological system. I guess snuffling or sniffing out stuff for 15 minutes is as good as like a 40-minute walk. So if you have a dog that needs both the mental and the physical to wear them out. So I pulled the snuffle mat out today for clients, and the vast majority of them were like, this is so cool. And we're doing that while I was adjusting them. And then they would come up even more exhausted. So I'm wondering what I'll hear back from pet parents. So snuffle mat. So I didn't get the dogs out on their walk today. And Crosby, the poodle's like, I need to go do something. He's the one that's like, are we going to do something? Can we go in the car? Can we do something? So he can't snuffle because he likes to destroy things. So I roll up his treats in a towel. And he is incredibly bad at figuring out how to unroll the towel to get to the cookies. He smashes them into little bits. He like gums the towel. It's fascinating for a pretty smart dog how bad he is at that, but kept him busy for, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes. He did that. Others did chews. So we did that activity this afternoon, but I am shocked at how bad he is at snuffling. And his rear, because he's missing that hip, I wonder if that correlates too. I don't know, but it is fascinating how bad he is at that. So maybe we'll keep practicing. Maybe he'll get better. So far, I haven't seen much improvement. Keisha says the email today was awesome. Thank you, Miss Keisha. So Kyle's been working with Doggy Dan's calming code for their beagle. Seems to be helping. The snuffle shop is in full swing. Yes. She also screwed up last week. No. Frog this time. Crosby sounds impulsive. What do you mean, Ashley? And let me let the cat out real quick. Hold on one sec. Yes, Miss Ruby. Okay. Impulsive with the towel and the treats. It depends on your definition of impulsive. He's not using his brain like I thought he would. Maybe, does that answer your question? Okay, so any questions, or I'm gonna, I don't know if impulsive is the right word, but my dog training words are not very accurate most of the time. So, you're gonna make me talk about the Healy, huh? I knew it. Okay. Well, I'm actually, sometimes I have Healy on, sometimes I don't. This is what Healy actually looks like. You don't have to. I know I don't have to. But you know what, Ash? Maybe we can talk about it on Saturday and bring it back on Tuesday. Impatient. I don't know what the word is, but I wish he was. I wish, right? This is me projecting, but I wish he was smarter about it. I would expect him to be smarter about it. Let's put it that way. Well, Chicago was a bust. I don't know if you could tell us Tuesday. I was very chatty, but I was starting to feel a little under the weather, that kind of like, uh-oh. And then up most of the night, and then we ended up having to put my mom's dog down. So I ended up just canceling Chicago. So I'm going to go in May instead. So unfortunately, I have nothing new to share from Chicago. I did spend a few days on a staycation and recouped here and helped my mom out with all of that with her Oliver. And so nothing, thank you for asking. And I didn't end up going. But it all worked out. And I was really glad I was here for my mom, because it would have all gone down and I would have been there and it would have been a little harder. So that's what's up with that. Okay. Ashley and I are going to talk about Crosby. Maybe I'll even show Ashley it, and she can put some better words to it than me. And we can talk about that. Because his impulse control per se is not awful. I mean, it's not fantastic by any means, but maybe we can film the puddle. Maybe we'll do something like that. Yeah, we'll talk about that more, and we'll circle back around. Healy. Okay, I think I did such a crummy job. She threw that out of left field on me. As you could probably tell on the podcast, I'm like, oh my God, I almost need to prep for Healy. Because it's basically the concept, and it's not even a concept, it's a truth, is everything is made up of that energy. Everything, absolutely everything. We are all frequencies. What we think about comes about. What we worry about usually comes about, right? Like, everything's energy. We talk about that quite a bit here. And then there's a whole subset of medicine. It's not really medicine, or healthcare, wellness, that uses technology to modulate our frequencies. Okay. And that's what Healy does. And Healy has an app. There's an app for that. There's an app that goes on your phone. And in that app, there are pages and pages of programs that help balance out your frequencies. I think that's a better explanation than I even did on the podcast, if you heard that. And I told the Jack story on how frequency medicine, energetic medicine, I'm not even sure I'm supposed to be using that term, but how frequencies help him overcome basically what is seen as an incurable autoimmune disease by conventional veterinary medicine. So his frequencies were off. He was in dis-ease. So what if every dis-ease is your frequencies are not, they're off. They're too jagged, they're too smooth, they're not doing what they're quote unquote supposed to be doing. And you are in dis-ease. Okay. And then there's these machines, one of which came out in 2020 here in the US, that fits in the size of your, fits in the palm of your hand. Other ones are very big. Those have been around 40, 50 years at this point. All of this comes out of Germany. And we know Germany is known for their energetic medicine, the father of homeopathy. They may still have homeopathic hospitals. I know they did at one point. And so energetic frequencies, medicine, healthcare, wellness, if it comes out of Germany, they generally know what's going on. So if you come across there's other machines too, and generally they come out of Germany. And there's other practitioners that have different machines. What I like about the Healy, what I like about the bigger machine I'm familiar with, which is Bicom, most people are like, oh, it's like biofeedback. It is and it isn't. The biofeedback tells you what's wrong. All right. And then you can kind of figure out supplements, or you need to lower your stress or whatever. But with the Bicom and with the Healy, it actually sends frequencies into the body to balance out the frequencies that are in dis-ease. And so you're actually taking that next step to modulating that. And one of the stories I didn't tell on the podcast was I got my Healy. I actually didn't try it. I didn't know if the app was going to work on my phone. I had an acquaintance contact me on Facebook Messenger. She's like, thought you'd be interested in this. And I pretty much bought it sight unseen. And when I was looking at these machines at $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, and she's like, hey, it's a $2,500 price tag. I'm like, sold. Which most people are like, oh my God, $2,500. But I was used to these big machines. So it was literally, at the time I ordered, shipping in 3 to 6 months. I got mine in 7 days. Like, Healy showed up, and there's not a lot to read about it on the website if you go to the website. And Keisha will put my personalized link in the show notes below so you can go check it out if you're interested. And you can always email me or message me questions about it at a later time if they come up for you. But I'm playing with these, and at the time I was really suffering with some sciatica. Like, it was bad. And I'm like, ugh. And so I'm running the sciatica program, and I'm running low back pain and this pain program. And at the time, we're also talking 2020, so stress was through the roof. Handling people in my business became a little more stressful. I mean, everyone was just so wired that I went and I was running, I think it was mental balance, because there's a mental program. There's a whole page of programs for your mental status. And I was like, I think it's called mental balance I think it was the balance one. Anyway, my sciatica went away. But I also kept, now don't tell anybody, even though I'm telling this across the internet. But I also kept saying my clients were a real pain in the ass right now, literally and figuratively. But the sciatica program didn't touch the pain, but the mental balance did. And so that's where energy is a lot of fun. Frequencies are a lot of fun. And it's not always so straightforward with it. But there's a whole page of meridians. There's 2 pages of bioenergetic harmonies. Like, I was running stuff for my little sniffles that I had, which really was just a silly little cold. It really wasn't anything to write home about. And that was helping, balance that out, and maybe it cleared it out a little sooner. There's a whole page of chakras. I'm trying to think of all of them. Right now, I'm running, and there's a little green dot. I don't think you can see it flashing. I'm running in the learning program a concentration system. Concentration system. So maybe I can answer all your questions more accurately. So that's what I'm running right now. I'm like, well, that'll be fun. So that's a little bit more about Healy. There'll be a link down below. Check it out. It is designed to be with you all day long on a daily basis to help support you in whatever you need balancing. I use it. My husband uses it. I put it on the animals. You should see them roll their eyes. But if I get the right program, they usually just like cack out. Like, they're just done. It's really cool. And if I don't get the right program, they get very antsy. It's very interesting. They're like, like, oh my gosh, this is not. And I usually hook it to like a harness or their collar, or on Torch's kennel. I'll put it on the little grate on the kennel. It has a little bit of an area that it affects. And so we do it that way. So it just, the support daily is, it's priceless, actually. It really is. They don't cost $2,500 anymore. They're a fraction of that, honestly. And I still think I underpaid for what Healy has brought to me. So there you go. A little bit more about energy and frequencies and Healy. And if you have any more questions, we can go into it a little bit, or you can email me or message me later. Thank you, Miss Keisha. All right. Anything else, folks? So I wrote about, I'll just keep yapping. So, if you want to stop me and you have a question, type it in, and would love to go over that. And we'll circle back to the poodle next week. So for those of you that are on my email list, I put out an email today about kind of my musings, a little bit of facts about MSG, monosodium glutamate, and more just kind of like, just more of a thought-provoking about it. But I don't really want to go into that. We will talk about it on the Raw Dog Food Truth podcast. But I did find this. This was fascinating to me. So I was researching hydrolyzed protein dog food, and I ended up on veterinarians.org. And it's titled Hydrolyzed Protein Dog Food, Everything You Need to Know. And you can only get hydrolyzed dog protein from your quote unquote prescription food. So that means Royal Canin, Hills, Purina through your veterinarian. And they tell you what hydrolyzed dog protein is, the benefits of, I'm not even going to go into that because they're kind of silly. But here, I love this. So their top choice for hydrolyzed protein dog food is Royal Canin. And it comes, and this is their summary. This is great. It comes with no surprise that Royal Canin brand is top of our list. Let's see. Oh, where is it? Here we go. And it goes through pros. It goes through the cons. And ingredient analysis. The first 5 ingredients are brewer's rice, hydrolyzed soy protein, chicken fat, natural flavors, dried plain beet pulp. And they were like, this is, overall ingredient quality. And just like, okay, good. And we go down to the next one, which is Royal Canin, and we see the same thing: brewer's rice, hydrolyzed soy protein, chicken fat, natural flavors, vegetable oil. So we also have toxic seed oils in here. So that's just awesome. The food is excellent. We go down into Hills. And this one is where I find, and the main ingredients, you're so proud of this, is cornstarch. Number 1, hydrolyzed chicken liver, powdered cellulose, and soybean oil. One of the highest toxic seed oils you can get is soybean oil. Awesome. And these are the main ingredients. This is just so, so awesome, right? But this powdered cellulose, I'm like, is that something we should really be proud of? And so I Googled that. Okay. So what is powdered cellulose? Let's see, where is it? So to achieve their goal, many manufacturers try to create a balance between healthy ingredients and fillers. And that's where powdered cellulose comes into the picture. Cellulose has been a frequent add-on in various recipes. It's actually wood or plant fibers, which are largely indigestible. Powdered cellulose represents cellulose turned into an odorless, tasteless powder with little or no nutritional values. And it comes from cotton, paper, or similar materials. They bake the wood, getting rid of the water inside to make a powder. It acts as an emulsifier or binder, and it's a standard replacement. This is even better. Standard replacement for fruits, vegetables, and other fiber-rich ingredients. Okay. So I just loved that. I learned something new on how proud these companies are of their cornstarch, hydrolyzed chicken liver, and powdered cellulose, and toxic seed oil, soybean oil. And this is what people are feeding their animals on a daily basis. So those are my 2 cents on powdered cellulose. I'm like, okay, learned what that was. Woohoo! We have an update on a Chihuahua. Miss Ashley and Addie had a seizure. She started the Adored Beast liver tonic. She seems to be digesting the fattier food, lamb better, and it seems that her tear stains are better. Well, that's awesome. That's wonderful. Oh yeah, the Coors Brewery Tour. I haven't been there. We went. I was drinking, so it must have been many, many years ago, 25 years ago. Don't do the math. That they boast that they donate their leftover used brewer's yeast to Purina. So, leftover. Again, probably just a filler, probably very similar to they're so proud of powdered cellulose. It's amazing. Uh So, been feeding bully sticks and letting the dogs chew and swallow the small pieces. They feel comfortable swallowing, but sometimes come back out at 3 a.m. Feed the little piece or throw it in the compost. What time are you feeding the bully sticks? Maybe they just need to be done more, which, may not be feasible, more done at lunchtime. And it needs more time to digest. But I actually fed duck necks, I don't know, 5 o'clock yesterday. And I was cleaning that up at 4 a.m. because the Doberman puked up some perfect looking little vertebrae, cervical vertebrae. It was wonderful. So, I mean, it happens to us all. Yeah. And actually Torch puked up his part of a little strip of trachea. That was in the evening though, and he did puke on the floor because that is a rule in our house. We puke on the floor in this house. If you haven't instituted that, I just like to remind them we puke on the floor in this household. Yeah, I think it's just one of those things. If the stomach acid is up for it, who knows, not on the carpet. Yeah. But see, not on the carpet doesn't compute as easily or as well as we puke on the floor, on the floor instead of two negatives. Supposedly somewhere in animal communication, you should actually let them know what you'd like them to do, not what they would not want them, what you don't want them to do. So that's why I phrase it that way, but whatever works for you. I don't know. Is the cellulose the base material for glue? I have no idea. I don't know. What is? I don't think it says that. I don't know. But anyway. What else? I mean, pack update, powdered cellulose. That's all I got, folks. It went a little faster than I thought. Any other questions? I think you got me quiet. Not on the carpet. Okay. Are we doing a quickie tonight? Spring's coming. Oh, any tips on what to help prevent? Okay. Like bugs? Are we talking bugs? Spring is coming, warmer weather coming. Is that what we're talking about here, Kyle? Spring is coming, not soon enough. It was super, super foggy and overcast today, but it was beautiful on Sunday. Made me think about pulling out my rollerblades. Beautiful on Sunday. But yeah, spring's not coming soon enough. Yes. Bugs. Well, where you live, Kyle, and where I live is two different worlds. I think we have so many dogs here in Colorado because it is so easy to handle the bugs here in Colorado. You just got your first snow? What? Are you kidding me? We have snow still on the ground from December. It was so irritating. It's mostly gone though now. But it's been snowing for months. Anywho, bugs. So living in Colorado, we are spoiled rotten. It gets cold in the winter, like below freezing, snow, ice, cold, kills most of the bugs, right? And then we don't have the humidity in the summer, which is just kind of nice. So bugs in Colorado are super easy to handle, in my opinion. So I generally, what I do with my animals, my choice, is I don't do anything. I don't feed pesticides, which include all the flea, tick, heartworm. There are other alternatives for those. If we need to, I will do an essential oil spray before we go for walks to keep the bugs off. Once you have a bug problem and you have an infestation, a lot of times you're going to have to resort to the chemicals because they're the only things that are going to kill them. Okay, with that said. But if you can prevent, so much easier. So, yes, I think Ashley talks about garlic. I don't do anything with garlic. I haven't looked up garlic. I don't know. Generally, my point of view, healthy, raw-fed dogs are not of much interest to the bugs. The bugs like sick animals. They like animals that are on all the pesticides and all the things because it actually wears down their immune system and makes them ill. This is completely anecdotal. This is what I have seen personally in 20 years. The 2 dogs here in Colorado that organically, meaning they got heartworm here in the state of Colorado, were on year-round heartworm because it is so detrimental to the immune system, and it makes actually for more sick dogs. It actually doesn't. Now, the vast majority of heartworm we see here come up from Texas because we ship in so many dogs from Texas and find them homes here. So fleas are little blood-sucking vampires. And yeah, Keisha asked if I had been doing the alternative method of heartworm testing. She's so good with her question. She's been hanging around with me for a little while. So heartworm, let's talk about heartworm. It's one of my favorite topics because we do it all wrong in conventional medicine, conventional veterinary medicine. We test in the spring. It's the absolute wrong time to test. You should test, and you should test in the fall. Now, I got to say, I have not lugged all of my dogs in to be tested this last year, but I think 2 or 3 of them went in for stuff. I think, Torch was there. Oh, I think it was after his respiratory thing, so we tested him. Crosby got his teeth done, so we tested him. But you should test in the fall. Because if they happen to be heartworm positive in the fall, they most likely got it very recently in the summer, and so you do not have adult worms yet, and you have choices on how you want to treat that. So if your dog picks up heartworm in the summertime and then you don't test until the spring, you now have adult worms that requires some hardcore treatment, which is basically high doses of arsenic. And they have to rest for so many weeks to months. I don't know. They, can't do activity. We have to kill these adult worms, and the body has to eliminate these adult worms without killing the dog. But if you pick it up in the summer, which that's where most dogs do, again, I'm talking Colorado. Texas is different. California is different. Louisiana is going to be different because they don't have the winters to kill everything off. Okay. So you test in the fall. And if you don't do any heartworm preventative, that's fine. Still test. Still make sure you're negative. And here's a couple of the kickers too. Is a dog's immune system, if in tip-top shape, if on a minimal vaccination schedule, if raw-fed a species-appropriate diet, if healthy, can handle when they get exposed to heartworm. The immune system should be able to handle it. And the vector for heartworm is mosquitoes. Okay, so how many mosquitoes do you have in the summer? Where do you travel? Are you on a lake in the summer? Like, does your dog have very short to no hair to, 3 inches that the mosquito isn't going to get through? Like, there's so many different factors that are never even talked about. Here's your heartworm preventative. Do it year round. Right? The other thing which comes into play here in Colorado, because I'm up at a high altitude, I'm at about 7,000 feet. I'm in the foothills. Denver's 5,000 feet. You go out to, let's say, farther east, your reservoir, you're even lower, it's even hotter. But mosquitoes cannot cultivate the larva, the heartworm larva, if it gets below, I think it's 50 degrees and maybe 45 degrees. It has to stay above right around there for 30 days in a row. If it drops below that, which it does in the summer here at my altitude, the bugs can't cultivate the disease. So when you're going up into the mountains here at higher elevations, it gets much cooler at night. Even though there tends to be more mosquitoes, they're not cultivating the disease. Okay, so there's a lot of things that are never discussed in conventional veterinary medicine that informed pet parents need to go out and educate themselves on. Do they need to do it year round? Do you need to do it monthly? One of the things I heard about it is the heartworm preventatives actually designed for every 6 weeks, but they don't think people are smart enough to do it every 6-week protocol. So they just they make more money, and it's just easier to do it every month. So get out there, get on these pharmaceutical websites, educate yourself. What does the temperature have to be? Where are your travels in the summer? Do you just want to do it late summer into early fall, 3 or 4 months instead of 12 months? Because that's what's going to be comfortable as a prevention in your pack. Do you want to look at alternatives? Hawthorne's amazing. Amber Naturals has a tincture. I think it's HVW or HWV. Many of my clients just use that. So not only are you supporting the heart, supporting the immune system, and bolster the dog so they can handle any exposure they may have. Unless, because pharmaceuticals suppress. So educate. So yes, Keisha, I like to get them in. They don't all get in every year. They just don't, because I'm too damn busy. I got no excuse. I'm too damn busy. But about they rotate through, and we test in the fall for heartworm. So Keisha says, I've noticed since I started feeding more raw-ish food, my guys have maybe a few fleas show up once in a while, but overall no bug activity. That is amazing, because she lives in Texas. That's a big deal. I heard her, it was probably a rumor, or I heard somewhere, whatever the hell. There is a pet store, dog store owner, and I think they have kennels too. And they do everything in Texas, all natural, like raw feeding, essential oils. They don't do any of the actual prescription heartworm, flea, tick stuff down there. So it can be done. I don't claim to know how to do that in Texas. I know how to do it here in Colorado. New Jersey probably gets pretty cold, but you have more of a tick Lyme disease issue that needs to be mitigated, prevented, handled depending on how much hiking and stuff you do. We have ticks here in Colorado, but we don't have the Lyme disease here. So, you may live in Colorado, but every summer you're up in Minnesota. You need to educate yourself for that area in the summer. But those are the bugs. I'd like to keep them off of them with essential oil sprays that I make myself. You can buy, there's quite a few different ones. I think even Dee Dee on your ordering, I think she even has some natural essential oil sprays that will work. The Doberman, because he has no hair, he's got alopecia really bad. I even make my own sunscreen for him. We don't use it a lot, but if we're going to be out quite a bit, because I actually want him to get the vitamin D from the sun. I'm still working on that email. Oh my goodness, vitamin D. That's like, I need a whole nother doctorate to figure out vitamin D, let me tell you. Um, but I actually use the homemade sunscreen too. I don't use any of the chemicals in the sunscreen because if you use carrot seed oil, it has a natural occurring SPF of 30 to 50. And it has a bunch of retinol in it, which is actually really good for your skin. So I had coconut oil, beef lard, carrot seed oil, geranium, and frankincense. That's what I do. Yes, has a tallow base. Good question. Kyle's always in my head, I swear. Yep, tallow base. A little bit of coconut oil. And this last batch I made for myself, I put some olive oil in. I don't like it. I like put 5 drops in and it's way too oily. But yes, tallow base, a little coconut oil so it is a little smoother. I went to the British Virgin Islands with my friends. I may have told the story, but they're all, SPF and 30, 40, 50, like, and I'm putting on my homemade sunscreen and they are like, oh, girlfriend, you are going to be screwed. Now, granted, I also do go to this tanning salons a couple times a week for a few minutes for the artificial vitamin D. I got to get some sun rays, and I've got to say it's made quite an impact this winter. Oh my God, we could argue about skin cancer and those rates and yada, yada, yada. So you got to figure out where you land on all that. But I actually didn't think I'd like tanning. So I did do some tanning before I went to the Virgin Islands. And then I had my homemade sunscreen and I did not wear my sunglasses. And I was the only one that did not get burnt. Just saying. So pretty cool. And yeah. So big fan of that. Yes. So yeah, Addie did get fleas. I didn't talk about fleas much. Ashley could write a whole book on fleas. Rabbits, cute little things, so full of fleas. So a lot of times here in Denver, because we don't have a huge flea problem, I mean, it seems to be more and more, but there's also more and more people and more dogs. So, it's all relative. But if I think people, and I think Ashley had, rabbits in her smaller backyard, and that can contribute quite a bit to fleas in your animals. But yep. See, polyphenols in the oils. See, sunscreen. So yeah, I put the sunscreen on Riggy. But when we actually tested, because we were trying to figure out his alopecia for a little bit when he was younger, I've given up. I don't care anymore. He just doesn't have any hair. We actually had his vitamin D levels tested and by Dr. Judy Jasek, and she's like, he's like one of the very few dogs I've ever seen with regular levels of vitamin D. I'm like, because he doesn't have any fur. He actually gets the sun rays to his skin. So, and she's like, yeah, probably, right? Because I'm still researching this and trying to put this together. I'm not a very good writer. And I don't want to overwhelm people in the email, because if I'm overwhelming you, God, I'm way overwhelmed myself. But some books and places say that dogs don't metabolize vitamin D like we do. And I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, okay, so then where do they get their vitamin D? Like, or do they, And then you find other sources that, yes, they do. They need the sun to convert vitamin D, but because of their fur, they have a hard time doing it. That makes sense, right? And so I think they are more similar to us when it comes to that, but their fur gets in the way. So that's where I kind of am with that. I'm working on that a little bit. All right. So vitamin, anything else? What else? Please. Yeah. They don't spray. Yeah. Haven't gotten that far, Kyle. I'm assuming they've got to get some vitamin D from the animal fat. But then, I don't know how much you've looked into it for yourself. Like, there are so many differing opinions about vitamin D. Should you supplement? Should you not supplement? You're like the tanning beds, getting outside, right? You really want to get your collarbones cut out, collarbones exposed. I stopped wearing sunglasses to activate as much as we can for the circadian rhythms. I mean, it's a little overwhelming. And then some specialists or experts, let's go with experts, don't supplement. We're actually testing for the wrong vitamin D. It's the blood levels, which is not exactly what is in the liver, and you can't test what's in. I mean, it just kind of goes on and on and on. So, I think in some of the stuff I was reading for dogs, they have even less information on dogs, like what levels they should even be at. They're not even sure. But we do know that the vast majority of the kibble recalls, not the vast majority, I don't know, a good portion of the kibble recalls have been from hypervitaminosis, vitamin D, too much vitamin D, hypervitaminosis, vitamin D. And what's resprayed on kibble is all synthetic. So the body's really struggling to assimilate it too. So it's a kind of a complicated thing. So I work on it a little bit, and then my mind goes crazy, and I'll put it together here sooner or later. Yeah, D3, and if you're supplementing for humans, to take with vitamin K. Yeah, D3, K2 is the huge, but some experts say don't even supplement. So I don't know where I fall on that. So far, I haven't supplemented. So, and I know they do supplement with dogs. I don't think they add the K2. I don't know. The couple of supplements I looked at for a client, I don't remember, but they were D3s. One dog was supplementing at 2,000 IUs for years. Not particularly cool. It should be retested much more often than that. Yeah, that's an unbelievable D level. 144. That's unbelievable. It's like off the charts. So, yeah. And some people supplement and never get a good reading. But yeah, we don't have very sandy dirt here. All right, we're coming up on 50 minutes. I mean, we could call it here. Yeah, that's high. Yeah, I think if you're like, God, I think they want you like 60. Like 60 would be amazing. A lot of people hang out like 20 or lower. Like it's actually quite an issue. Because we're not outside anymore. We don't go outside. And then in the winter, we go outside all bundled up. I know they are always like, you should, take a walk with as much skin as you can handle showing. I'm like, I can only handle this much skin showing. Like I'm such a weather weenie. It's ridiculous. Like for people, all the cold plunging and stuff just makes me nauseous just thinking about it. So I'm working up to it. I'd much rather get a sauna in the house and go sweat a little bit than freeze. Just me. All right, my friends. We're kind of all over the place today. Love it. I hope this benefits who's here today and all of you folks in the future. Let's see. Any other bugs? Garlic, raw, feeding a species appropriate diet, preferably raw. Healthy immune system. So you want to bolster that immune system, go to your mushrooms, turkey tail, to help support the immune system. Maybe that's something that you add in the summertime. I believe reishi is also immune boosting. They all are. Lion's mane is more for mental. Forget what chaga's for. Adored Beast has turkey tail and chaga in liquid forms. Both of them I put in the dog's food. They just eat it down. No big deal. 4-leaf Rover has a 7 shroom mixture. It has all 7 of them in it. I just ordered that. I haven't tried that yet, but maybe over the summer you want to add more mushrooms. Make sure that immune system is there to handle what comes at it. And then, heaven forbid, we have to rely on pharmaceuticals. A healthy immune system will also help going through that. Because you know what? What if there's a time and a place for everything? So Jennifer, yes, said she started her cat on reishi, lion's mane, and cordyceps. Okay. Does the cat willingly eat them? Chaga is also for the immune system. I think they all are for the immune system, and then they have their little, I can never remember the mushrooms. I don't know what it is. I even took like a mushroom course, and hell if I could remember. That's a good point. Natural essential oil sprays. What's the one you used? It's a cedarwood base. It was actually in Shark Tank. I would use it here. I actually cannot use it around my house. My husband is anaphylactically allergic to cedarwood. Like, I accidentally had essential oil that had cedarwood in it, and he's like, his throat's closing up on me. Yes, Wondercide. So we don't use Wondercide around the house. I don't spray for weeds. I don't spray for bugs. Except for in the fall, we get an enormous amount of spiders, like wolf spiders. There's quite a bit of black widows. So I will go around the perimeter, like around the doors and stuff like that, with peppermint essential oil spray and douse that. The spiders hate that. You can always do peppermint in the house. Ants don't like it. All essential oils. But we don't use the Wondercide. I know Ashley did, because I can't. And we don't use anything on the weeds. Sometimes I'll go out and pour some white vinegar. Otherwise, I'm pulling weeds. So that doesn't happen. And then in the winter, we use a lot of cheap clay kitty litter on the ice. I try not even to use the safer salt because it's only safer and it burns little feet. And I have so many dogs coming in and out that we try not to do that. So cheap kitty litter works really well for traction. It doesn't do much for the melting part, but it works pretty good. You're welcome, Miss Keisha. Isn't that a cute little heart? Keisha's always so warm, and I am so not. So is Dana. She comes in and turns off my little heater I have in the office. She's in her short sleeve shirt. I'm like, oh my God. Wondercide. Yes. There we go. Yeah. Wondercide's awesome. They have stuff for the yard and everything. All right, my friends. I will be back next Tuesday, which is at March 14th. We're coming up on St. Patty's Day, but I will be here Tuesday, March 14th, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We will talk everything raw. Wherever that takes us. We will learn about powdered cellulose and frugs, and some new ideas about bugs and where else to go. Educate yourself on what's going to work for you in your pack. Thank you for all the regulars. So good to hear from you. Jennifer B says her kitty eats the mushrooms. To try some. Mine eat the supplements maybe for a day or two, and then they're like, nope. Typical cats. We have a brand new website. Miss Keisha's been working long and hard on it. Thank God for her patience, because I don't have that. So you can check that out at animalmagiccare.com. If you are not and would like to be on the email list, you can join there. I think there'll be a link in the show notes below for Sigmatic brand. Yep. Okay. Very cool. Thank you all for contributing. So grateful for all of you. Be back next week. And you can check out me and Dee Dee on the Raw Dog Food Truth podcast Monday mornings. I think the links go up on the website and all your favorite podcast locations. All right, my friends. Until next time, how much fun can you have with your animals? Bye-bye.